Alright guys, this is Crazed Chariot, about to play a Syrtis Major on 1 vs 1 against Chev. Going to try to walk through my point of view here. So I went with Cybran here. I've been playing them a bunch. Fun faction all around, a lot of different versatility. I have a specialized build order on this map. Which I have a lot of specialized build orders on these maps that I play a bunch. I'm basically going to use the Hydro to skip early T1 power, and then I'm going to use the ACU to get 2 early land factories up on the ridge. Similar to the Loki build, it's a little late on air, but it's tough to capitalize on this map because you kind of got to fly around the center civilians, and it's easy to protect your NGs, or at least easier than Loki. And also expansion engineers aren't as valuable here because there's a lot of reclaim. There's the middle mass, there's reclaim all around your base, all along the sides and the ridges. So first bomber, not as worried about it, or early bomber. So you can see the engineer going for the Hydro. He's then going to queue up additional power and air factory. You want to make a lot of power on this map because you can get a lot of mass early on through reclaiming. You can either put that towards units, extra factories, teching mechs, whatever you sort of gameplay you want to do. This game I'm going to do a little bit of a slow tech and sort of a heavy unit push. I'm going to try to push the right side, or sorry, the upper left side hard, and cut him off from his second base in the north there. You can see I already have engineers queued up on the attack reclaim to sort of get all those rocks. It's a little faster than going straight from mechs, and it allows me to sort of power this build early on with mass. So you can see the engineer the ACU going to build those 2 factories on the ridge. They're going to queue out some early engineers to reclaim and build more factories, and then spam Mantis to sort of raid that north. Normally I can get a decent unit advantage just based on the placement of those factories. So I'm going to try to abuse that, sending this guy down to sort of hopefully catch an engineer that's trying to build a factory on his own ridge down in the lower right hand corner. So again, just sort of setting up the build. As I mentioned before, I'm going to do a heavier land spam, slower tech, try to really live off the reclaim. It's important to get that air factory up as soon as possible because I'm a little bit late, because I went sort of like a third air, almost a fourth air, building simultaneously there with the ACU and the engineers. So I'm going to assist that. If I'm playing a player like Petrick, or someone that really likes to use bombers, I might even use those engineers to assist a couple of quick scouts and interceptors if I think there's going to be bombers coming. But against Chev, he normally doesn't do that, so I'm not as worried. Going to use this to try to scout any potential bombers. I also place my T1 scouts in areas where bombers usually like to come in and hit engineer clusters. But again, I have a lot of T1 factories already, so if I lose some engineers to bombers, not the end of the world. As I mentioned before, assisting those engineers, trying to get a decent power spam up, so I'm going to need it once this reclaim starts pouring in. Doing a quick scout. He is actually he is not really built an air factory at all yet, so I could switch to bombers here, but I'm not going to. I just want to sort of keep and maintain that ASF advantage, or interceptor advantage. I am going to raid with that Mantis down in the south, and there we go. That's what I was looking for. He's just trying to reclaim, not even building a factory. I mean, a good tip is after you kill something like that, to sort of run the Mantis away down to sort of a corner or something, and maybe you can come back later. If you just stand there, or if you go into his base, any good player is going to have 2 tanks waiting for you to kill you, and you just fed him reclaim and wasted your unit. So I always try to attack, then move the unit away, save it for later. Every unit you can save later on adds up over time if you can sort of maintain your unit advantage. So I'm starting to spam some T1 factories there. My ACU built another some T1 factories down in the south there. I'm going to build mostly Arty out of them. Arty, anti-air, some Mantis to attempt to get that middle reclaim. What I like to do here for the middle reclaim is actually let him spend his resources killing the PD, and then I come in at the last second and attempt to sort of steal, or at least get half of the quantum gate. There's also some other heavy civilian buildings in there that are worth some mass. Those are worth reclaiming too. Some of the Aeon administration structures and things like that. Raiding in the north, I'm going to keep his expansion from going on. And I'm also making sure I get that other northern ridge for reclaim too, because I've kind of mined out my ridge near my base, although there's still some left. So, as I mentioned, keep those units moving. He's probably chasing me with units of his own, so if I can even if I can draw him into the back of his own base, it basically makes those units a minute later than they normally would be in my base, so I can push from multiple angles, and you can kill mexes on a run by like I'm doing now. So you always want to keep your units moving. I got a raid here in the south. I don't actually have a good sort of unit composition down there. A lot of Arty, some Mantis, and anti-air, so I'm not going to defend that as hard right now. It's actually, that southern max is not as important for me right now, as I'm kind of living off the reclaim. So, like I mentioned, keep those units moving. Gonna sort of try to dance here a little bit. Another little raid he's doing here to my center mechs. So I can actually see him already in the middle there with that Arty. He's killed one of the PDs, so I'm thinking about building a point defense for my ACU just to be safe, and then sort of going into that middle. Keep the reclaim alive. Queue up some attack moves. Chase those units down there. And I can see his ACU inside there. So I'm going to reclaim finish my point defense would be a good move first, and then sort of reclaim the walls to make some room for my units. I don't want to get caught there if he has a big unit cluster. Again, queue up some reclaim. Take care of these units down here. He's got a unit down there, going to kill that. So another thing is, don't send more units than you need to send. He has one tank. I'm going to send 2 Mantis, so that way my units aren't trapped in the back of my base, like I mentioned earlier. So I can see he's trying to kill that quantum gate. So I'm going to go in now. I have a PD and I have a bunch of T1 units, so I should be okay, and a bunch of things. So I had that T2 factory I queued up. Going to make some early T2 engineers get power, get TML defense. So these Mantis have actually done a lot of damage, just sort of running around near his base, at least causing him some headache. So that's the Aeon administration building that I mentioned before. You can reclaim on that. So here I'm going to start to spam some T2 land, a mix of hoplites and I didn't queue that properly, so I'm going to lose out on this reclaim, unfortunately. I'll get some of it, but yeah, that wasn't the best strategy there. Now, some players will try to overwhelm him in the middle. I'm not going to, because I'm Cybran and it's dangerous. You can get a lot of draws, low hit points on your ACU. So again, I've started sort of a slow tech. Getting my T2 power spam going. Here's my T2 land spam coming up. Rhinos, hoplites, some stealth, some flak. I'm not going heavy on air yet. Eventually I will switch to T2 or T1 air massively, just to protect myself. So I'm getting ready to sort of spam T2 land here. Sovereign 2/2 land's pretty good all around. It's not, they don't have one killer unit, but used in conjunction with Medusa, they're quite powerful. The rhinos and the hops for distance, and the stealth is nice as well. So again, just trying to keep a lot of my units on the move, keep my reclaiming going. You know, I'm running low on mass here, so I'm going to take some engineers and reclaim. Otherwise, they're just doing basically nothing by making me mass stall. Again, queue up some more reclaim. Probably do some raiding in the south, try to kill those 3 mechs. Queue up reclaim down on my other base there. So as you can see, a lot of reclaiming. My mass income's okay right now. I think I have definitely map control. Built probably a little bit too much T1 power, but I'm going to use it to spam some air later on. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable in this game right now. I've been raiding heavily. He has not really raided me effectively. And I feel like I've been on top of the reclaim game. I'm going to get T2 with that extra power. So my waypoints are my factories. So that raid in the south went decent. Again, important to reclaim. You can see those engineers reclaiming some of that T1 battle spam. Going to start to tech a little bit more as I get some of this reclaim in. So I'm going to switch to a Medusa spam with some anti-air. Medusas, once you have Tech 2 on the ground, are quite good. They're a slower unit, so they actually pair well with the rhinos. They give a nice range bonus. Another little trick is you can drag the attack move reclaims on your engineers. That way they still maintain their distance to reclaim, as opposed to moving them and then losing the range bonus. Getting a T2 radar up there just to keep myself aware. I'm going to go for a push here. So I have a ton of power right now. Built way too much power. Trying to protect myself against some sort of TML snipe here. And I'm going to go T3. So I will need that extra power gen for that. A little reclaim in the corner.
Zwei GCs, ein Megalith und eine Spinne.
Ja, aber ich werde gesnackt, das ist ganz normal.
Du bist wirklich gesniped?
So I'm getting the advantage pushing here on the northern side. So now I'm going to really start to protect my ACU, make a bunch of, don't want to run my T2 in there, make a bunch of some shields, some stationary flak so I don't move them out the way by mistake, and some Tech 2 point defense in the middle there. So I have almost 15k reclaim, which is pretty good. I can get this ridge down in the south here with these engineers. That'll give me another boost. Again, just pressuring him, trying to pressure him almost all over the map. You know, no player is immune to having to spend time defending all over the map. It generally a waste of APM for them, and it's difficult to eco while doing that. Only the really best players can do both at the same time. You know, it definitely affects me if someone raids me heavily. I tend to let my base go to shit. So again, just trying to keep him moving here. Here comes my air spam. You can see I'm a little bit. Power is a little bit of a concern right now. It's balanced decently well, but that Now I'm starting to use all of it I should. I also have some Tech 2 Raiders up too, which suck up some power. So, I seem to have a pretty big unit advantage over him. I've taken off his north, and I've definitely teched more, so I have a huge advantage right now. I can only really lose this game if I throw it away, so I'm going to play it safe. Keep that ACU protected, spam some T1 air, try to prevent from any sniping. Queuing up my T3 land now. And going to assist it with all the idle engineers I have.
Man ist überfordert sein. Das kennt keine Waffen.
Ja.
I'm going to sort of go economy 2.0 here,
334.
take all my units, engineers near the mexes, start building storages. I generally only like to upgrade one side of my base. It's easier to defend against drops. I don't think that there's a huge advantage towards doing all Tech 2 than all Tech 2 with mechs than T3. I think that if you can afford it, I actually find it easier to do Tech 2 with mech storage around your central base, and then even go T3 mechs as opposed to upgrading the outer mechs to all T2. I just think that leaves yourself too open to air raids, drops, that sort of thing. So, the payback on a T3 mechs isn't that much less, so, and it's much easier to defend. Get another shield here. Some T1 defense. So you can see I'm really low on power, but I'm also low on mass, so it's pretty well balanced. So I have pretty well-mixed armies all over the map. They have flak, they have range, they have rhinos for hit points, they have medusas, so I don't have any real weaknesses right now on the map. I'm not prone to an air attack. I'm gonna reclaim that battle up there. Again, just playing it safe. As I mentioned before, I've out-teched him. Out-ecoed him, I should say, and I'm at least even in tech. Probably higher. You can see that T2 land factory is still producing units, so he hasn't gone T3 yet, whereas I just finished T3. Now I'm going to pump out some Loyalists, which will allow me to raid heavily. Loyalists are quite good, especially if you can sort of get them into range. They do very well versus almost all T3 units, especially Seraphim. They really hurt Seraphim, although everything hurts Seraphim because Seraphim T3 land is horrible. But the Loyalist is just a really good overall unit. It's not used as much as it should be. Just reclaiming this to get it out of the way, so I can raid up the middle. I hate when pathfinding becomes a nightmare. You can see some players reclaim all their T1 once they get T3. I don't like to do that. I like to keep spamming T1 Medusas and other crap, Scouts and Mantis, just because it adds some good DPS, and also it makes it more difficult to target and to micro against you. I think it's probably not the most mass efficient, but I'd gladly give that up for the ability to have larger looking armies on radar. It's harder to target the units individually for him if he's trying to micro using ACU gun or sniping with air, that sort of thing. So the only bad thing is the pathfinding can become a nightmare, so that's why I try to clear up that middle. So I'm basically just pushing into his base now. I have a massive eco advantage, and even if I fed him reclaim, it's not going to be the end of the world here. And yeah, this just queuing up some stuff. So I'm just going to try to go after his ACU here. I think he's pretty much done. So almost 25 reclaim. You know, like I mentioned, you can live off the reclaim for a while here, so he's going to go down. But anyways, I'm just trying to get used to casting, so hope you enjoy it. I'll try to do a few more games. Hopefully I can give some helpful hints here for the one-on-one gameplay and go from there.